This is a tutorial on creating an Active Directory domain within VirtualBox, and you can check the description for a more in-depth tutorial that I used to make this video. So in the Server Manager, you go up to Manage and Add Roles and Features, and then you're going to basically stay with the defaults through here up until this page where you're going to check the Active Directory Domain Services box. Add Features, and then you click Next. And basically stay with the defaults through the end of this menu. And click Install. And basically just got to sit and wait for the installation to complete. And once that happens, you can see up top underneath that notification menu, a little exclamation points just come up. You're going to need to select that menu and promote the machine to a domain controller. And at this point, you need to add a new forest. So select that bottom choice. And then you get to name your domain. Make sure you use a fully qualified name. adlab.local is the one that I chose. Now you're going to have to put in a password. And for this example, I just used the same password as the administrator on this machine. Once the passwords match, you can select Next. It'll give you a warning, but just don't worry about that. Just go ahead and click Next. And basically stay with the defaults through the rest of this menu as well. And it's going to show you some default pathways, and then it's going to give you a synopsis of what it's doing. Okay, then it's going to do some checks, and eventually it'll tell you that everything is all good. There should be a little check mark, and then it's going to make you restart. And now you can see ADLab has been added to the login screen. And now you can also see after a few seconds here, the Active Directory and the DNS services start up. And so the next thing to do is to start your client and your server machine, and go ahead and ping them both. You can do this by typing ipconfig, finding the IP address of each machine, and then pinging the opposite machine. And we're just making sure that we're connected and we're able to ping each other. The next thing to do is to go into the client machine. I'm calling this one PC01. Go into the network settings, select properties, go down to IPv4 TCP settings, properties, and then again pull up PowerShell, type ipconfig, type in all of that information that you see in the appropriate place: subnet mask, IP address, default gateway. You want to leave those pretty much the same. The big difference here is you're going to put the domain controller as the DNS server. And close it up. The internet status has changed for a second there, but it's back to connected. Okay, now back in the server, you're going to add a user. You do this by going to Tools in the Server Manager, Users and Computers, find your domain, right-click, New, and then you can go ahead and select User. For this example, I'm using John Doe. And for the username, I'm just using JDoe. Make sure you use a solid password, otherwise the menu won't let you continue. So back in the client machine, we're going to join the domain. You do this by opening up the File Explorer. Right-clicking on this PC, go to Properties. That'll open a Settings menu. And wait for this to load. Scroll down on the About screen to Advanced Settings. Computer name, and then you'll see at the bottom there's an option to change the domain. And select domain instead of workgroup. Use the qualified domain name adlab.local is what I'm using. And then since we just created the user John Doe, we're going to log in as jdoe at adlab.local. Now if everything was done correctly, you should get a welcome message. Welcome to the domain adlab.local, and then it'll have you restart the machine. At this point you can log in as jdoe on this machine. And once that's done, congratulations, you have added PC01 and user John Doe to your domain. And for this next step, it's just verification. And how you can do that is go back into the server, go into Tools, select Active Directory Users and Computers, and select your domain, and you can see jdoe under Users there. If you go to Computers, you can see PC01 is under Computers. So you know you've successfully added PC01 to the domain. And so if you have any questions about this, you can go ahead and check out the tutorial in the description. And if you have any questions on getting things set up, you can check out the other videos on my channel.